G'day, Eugene.
Morning, KB. How are you?
Going great. General Manager of Tasmania. Explain that.
Well, we're not mucking around. We think that Tasmania is more than just 2 games for the North Melbourne Football Club. This is a major strategic pillar for the club. We set about a plan about 3 years ago to find a new market. We believe we found it, particularly in the south of Tasmania, and so we think you can't go into these things, or we believe you cannot go into these things half-hearted. So we felt a general manager of Tasmanian operations was a good start, and someone who will be on the ground 24/7, liaising with Melbourne, answerable to our Chief Operating Officer, and really setting about creating a future for the club in Tasmania that will be pretty exciting.
So what will he actually manage down there?
Well, his major objective is to make sure that he goes about planning the commercial outcomes for the club, ensuring that our fan development ideas are implemented, ensuring that our commercial, media, finance, membership, all of the elements that are critical to any football club come together in the city of Hobart to ensure that when we put on our 2 games, they are 2 events that will happen in a broad-ranging objective by the club to get 10,000 members. I mean, I know that you hate to tie yourself to any figure of support, but we see membership, commercial partners, the games, the city of Hobart, the government, all as important stakeholders, and you can't do that via long distance. I think you need someone on the ground who's constantly working through those themes and those stakeholders to ensure we don't miss anything.
Okay, so you manage all the key stakeholders and the partners, and obviously he'll be based down there. Yep. Just on that, you mentioned 10,000 members. I know that Hawthorn's been well on the way to getting 10,000 members, of course, up in Launceston. So it's gettable, no doubt about it. 10,000 members down around about the Hobart area, and of course the southern part of Tasmania. And if he can do that as part of the general manager and liaise with all the key stakeholders, and you can get that many members, that will be a big plus for the mighty Kangaroos.
Well, there's 250,000 people in the south of the state, and oddly enough, when we went to the recent game in Launceston, we drove from Launceston down to Hobart after the game because we had some strategic meetings in Hobart. It was a traffic jam. From Launceston down to Hobart at 7 o'clock 2 weeks ago when we played the Hawks, despite the horrendous weather, there's clearly a lot of movement between the 2 areas, the north and the south, and so we don't see ourselves just as a southern engagement. We see ourselves as engaging the whole of Tasmania, but obviously playing out of Hobart's going to have a greater impact. But you're right, the opportunity is there for the Kangaroos. We would only have ourselves to blame. We're not setting a timeline on when we're going to get the growth in membership, but already the sort of emails I'm getting, the phone calls I'm getting, the media interest we're getting from Hobart in particular has exceeded our expectations. So, our membership manager is already working on the budgeting for next year, and we're fairly confident that we're going to get an increase. It's a question of how long and how many and how hard we're going to work.
Well, it's a pretty exciting time to be advertising, because at the moment North Melbourne has still got very much a live chance of making the finals this year with the big game coming up against St Kilda. Then, of course, you've got to play the resurgence Richmond in that last game of the year. But it's in your own hands now.
To some degree, KB. I mean, that start we had was terrible. The 2-7 really hurt us. There were some games that we lost that were close but have come back to haunt us. So even if we do win our 2 games, we still need things to fall our way with other results, in particular St Kilda and Carlton. But it's not an enviable position to be in, to have to fight all the way to the end to get into the finals when other clubs have already sort of locked away their results well before round 18, 19. But we're a developing team. I mean, I know that the coach always says, we have no limits on our expectations, but you can just see the change in this group over the last 3 months, and the strengths and the bodies that they're getting, or the stronger bodies they're getting, and the outcomes that we're getting on the field. So it's a big game. I know Ross Lyon was talking it up last night.
Yes, bring it on, bring it on.
Well, we're just going to do what we do at North Melbourne, turn up and do our very best.
Is that going to be put on all the lockers down there for the players? Bring it on, says Ross Lyon.
I don't know what he's going to do down at their end, but we obviously see it as a big game. It's a great opportunity, a Saturday night match. Hopefully the North Melbourne supporters will come out in numbers, even though it's an away game. We need everyone cheering us on, and I'm hoping for a big crowd.
Is it fair to say, Eugene, that you're playing your best football now at the business end of the season? You had some injuries at the start of the season. You're a bit scratchy there for a number of weeks. A lot of players do get tired towards the end of the season as well. But do you think that there's new life in the Kangaroos coming to the end of this season?
Well, I mean, even the last 4 weeks, the games we played against the Hawks, which were in horrendous conditions, and we really gave it a decent shake. The week before against Carlton on the Friday night was another match that sort of went for about 3.5 quarters. I just believe that, we're building. We've got a great young coach. We've got a great young team. Our young leaders are stepping up. So, yeah, we are probably putting things together later in the season. Ideally, you want to hit the ground running in round one. It hasn't turned out that way. We had a number of injuries. We're not making excuses, but you're very observant, and we're going to hope to deliver on your prediction that we'd make the 8. But it has come at the right time for us that we're starting to string a few games together, that giving people, great hope and expectation. It's been a long time since the Roos beat a team by 98 points so convincingly. I think it was 2003. So from our point of view, there is an element of excitement, but we just have to keep on improving.
And I was broadcasting that game the last time you played St Kilda, and that went right down to the wire as well. In fact, you had opportunities in the last quarter. I'm trying to remember. I don't think St Kilda actually scored in the last quarter.
We scored 1 goal 6, I believe, and they scored nothing at all. And so it was a real war of attrition.
Yeah. And
they held back, and we just couldn't get through with enough accuracy. And so, as Brad often says, we learn a lot from the losses that we sustain in the course of any given year. And so, hopefully, we've learned enough to be able to, make this weekend's game a must-watch game.
Oh, it should be an absolute beauty for both supporters of both clubs, because it's just so important at this end of the season. Just finally, I'm not quite certain what you can say about it, but we do read that Neville Stibbard, who was a former recruiting officer for North Melbourne, who's now with the Greater Western Sydney, that North sent a letter, complaint to the AFL after an alleged incident last year with your own recruiting manager, Bryce Lewis. This sounds, pretty nasty.
Can't comment.
Can't comment on it?
There are legal implications, and I believe that the wisest course the club can take in this matter is to shut up, basically, which I'm going to do, and leave the matter unwind as it should. But we simply can't make any comment about what's been reported and about what's been talked about. And I know you'll respect that because there are legal implications.
Okay. Eugene, good luck in the big game coming up. North Melbourne, if they make the finals, will be a mighty effort because you are playing exciting football. A couple of tough games, though. Of course, even the Tigers is going to be pretty tough because they're playing good football as well. But good luck for the rest of the season, and good luck in finding that general manager down at Tasmania.
Thanks, KB, and thanks for your support, mate.